Welcome back to episode 13. We are here in the base. A little bit of an annoyance. The star metal just does not seem to be working. I left it for a couple of in-game days over here at the Astral Temple. Didn't seem to do anything, so I took it to the big temple that we found in the mountains. That didn't work. I also tried it at another temple further up. Just nothing seems to actually be getting it to click into place, so I think there might be something glitched with it. I'm going to have a play around with it, but I will do that in the creative world between sessions. We'll carry on with things here. It just means Astral Sorcery is going to be on hiatus for a little while, so we'll kick in with some other stuff. We've got decorating the base to do, as well as getting started with Botania and Industrial Foregoing. So those are going to be the next things we work towards. Whilst I was doing the stuff with the star metal, I started to acquire some of the petals for Botania, so that's what we're going to leap into this session. So Botania is a really nice tech mod in the form of flowers. So it seems like a bit of a magical mod, but it's always labelled as a tech mod because it's all about automation of varying things. So to get started, we need a petal apothecary, which we apparently don't have slabs for. I'm guessing we've never put it into our drawers. No, apparently not. Okay, so let's add those in there as well. So we'll be using slabs of varying times. So we need an apothecary, which will need access to water. So we're just going to place it in here for now. And in order to make a flower, you need a number of petals and then seeds. It's got a nice little trick to it. So what you do is you drop it into the world, and then you get this interface showing if it's going to be a flower. It'll have which petals are in there, and then the output on the right hand side. So we then just drop that in. If you do it quickly in between, you can right click to just repeat the process if you've got the necessary ingredients in your inventory. I think that's like 60 seconds or so to do it. So the first item that you get from it is or the first step of all of the flower generations really is this pure daisy. The pure daisy helps turn certain in-world items into other ones. So living rock from stone, living wood from any wood blocks. It has a few other uses. So netherrack into cobblestone, soul sand into regular sand, turns ice into packed ice, blaze mesh, which is something that's added by Botania, which is just blaze rods, into obsidian, which is a really, really bad conversion unless you've got a blaze farm, and water into snow. So it can be a very, very helpful way of getting access to some of the items without having to go too far. So let's get ourselves a bit of stone. What wood? We've got a lot of spruce. We're not using too much of that. It doesn't need to be outside, but it does need an area around it. So we're going to do it outside just because of the amount of space that we've got over here. Yeah, let's do it on this side. So you want to leave a gap around it for the 8 blocks to go on. So these are not final positions because we need going to be putting astral sorcery rituals down, but considering we can't get access to those for a while, there's no harm in putting these. And after about 60 seconds or so, these will convert to their Botania equivalents. And then once they have done that, we can start using those things to craft mana spreaders, mana pools, and we then need to get into generation of mana, which our first flower of that type, he says trying to look for the thing. Up here. Will be the Ender Flame, which needs brown, light grey and red. Now, we're going to want a bit more. Of each. And then we're going to want about 8 Ender Flames. We could probably get away with a few less to start with, but 8 tends to be the way I go, because they pull from around them, so you can have 8 in a circle, a drop location, and be dropping items onto that area, and then pulling the resultant power with the spreader. There's much better ways later, so things like the Kekimurus, very late Botania one requires a lot of things that we won't have access to for a while, like the high tier runes and pixie dust and the like. That eats cake to generate the power, so that's probably what we're going to use as the final one. And have a whole thing about getting that up and running. It is quite a fun one to automate, and with astral sorcery, you can get a lens from a crystal that will turn pumpkins into cake. So you can have something growing a pumpkin into the space next to the Kekimurus. Kekimurus will eat the converted pumpkin when you've got the starlight shining on it, generate power, and then off. So it's all a little natural way of doing things. There's a few other ones that are quite fun to use, but we'll make the book and we'll show that off in a little while. So let's just get these final bits of living wood, and then we can head into the base. Also, you might notice that there's the start of a structure on top of the base. That's going to be where I'm going to put the bedroom and like the armor stand and things like that, so we can move away from having everything in that one room. That room will be like the command center for all the operations of the base, but the actual base itself will be upstairs. We'll have like a stairway going up from round here into the bedroom area. But yeah, that's to come. So let's add these into our crafting area, and then we want some living wood planks as well, and we'll want living wood bricks. So I quite like the design. They're really quite nice, just like a pearlescent white. So we've got a few things we need to make from our living wood and the like. So first up, we're going to need no, the recipe isn't that anymore, is it? It's here we go. Sticks, living wood twigs. So we need 3 of these, and we'll use the yellow just because we don't need the yellow petals for very much. So the wand of the forest is the interface essentially between a lot of the items and tools within Botania, specifically the flowers and things like your mana spreader and your mana pool. So that's those parts. Now we need some flowers, which we're going to already convert to petals. Right, how many can we actually get away with for the end of flame at the moment? So 2 browns, 1 light grey and a red. So let's just make let's make 3. So we need those. And 2 of those, 1 of those, 1 of those, just check that is fine. And now just rinse, repeat for 3 ender flames. So these are going to want to be, again, in a wide open space. We do want this to be a semi-permanent location because of it is more difficult to move these. So I think we're just going to pop it up here for the moment. So that would be the edge of the 8. Mana spreader there. I'll do. Right, so with the Wand of the Forest, you can see, if you right click on it, you can see the status of everything. So these are not currently connected to a mana spreader because I put them down in the wrong order, basically. If you put a plant down in the radius of a mana spreader, it will automatically pair, but because I did it the other way around, these haven't. So to get them to pair, if you shift right click, you'll get the selection box around it, and then shift right click on what you want to pair it to. And then that one indicates that it is now paired and will send any power it generates to the mana spreader. So if we now give these some coal, so they go onto the floor for a second. They take a split second, basically just so that if things accidentally fall on the floor, you've got a chance to pick them back up, and then they start generating power. And you can see, if I come off that, the large green pulse is the mana coming from here and into the mana pool. So you can see it's barely filling it up, but it's a start, and that's basically all we can ask for is getting things started a little bit. Automating it is a bit more of a challenge. We don't have some of the mods I would normally use to automate this, but all of Botania is self-sufficient in automation, so you can do with nothing other than Botania a fully automated setup, which is quite nice. So we'll be looking at that. So you can now see the ender flames have stopped being on fire, which means they've run out of power, or run out of things to process. And the mana spreader is no longer putting anything back into there, so we can put some more coal down. Ender flames will eat those and process it up. But yeah, that's going to be tedious. That's going to be something we want to change. So to that end, we want a dropper. Now we don't want to use the Minecraft one. We want to use the Botania's. I think it's open crate. That's the one. Which is just living wood planks in an N shape. Any item that is put into it just instantly falls out directly downwards. So we'll be putting that a couple of blocks above here, and it'll drop straight down. And that's all well and good, but then how do you put the things that you need into it? So easy enough, regular Minecraft hopper on the side, putting into it. But that would just keep outputting items until it no longer has anything in its inventory, and everything will be on the floor. A bit of a mess. So to that, we would say we need to put a pressure plate down. So any items that drop onto it and stay there emit a redstone signal. We'd then take that redstone signal up to the hopper, and that would no longer output. Anytime a hopper receives a redstone signal, it stops putting the items out there. Now again, that's all well and good, but we're going to run out of coal in it, so we'll need to find a way of putting the coal into the hopper in the first place. And what happens if the mana pool fills up? The mana pool itself is going to carry on just sitting there with a full part. We're going to be dropping coal, and this will just keep processing until it goes into the mana spreader. If you saw there, the mana spreader itself has its own little inventory for mana, and similarly the endo flames have their own. So this is really small inventory. This is a small inventory, and then this is quite a large one. But yeah, if the mana pool fills up, then we need some way to read that, which again, you can put a comparator on it to check how much is coming out, and have the redstone go over to the hopper as well. So you've got two different ways of turning the hopper off, either items sat waiting to be processed or the mana pool being full. It's not perfect doing that. You still end up with a couple of items that will end up on the floor. That can be gotten around through having some other flowers. There's a functional flower that picks up items on the ground, and you can tell it to only pick up certain types of items as well. So by doing that, you can have any coal that falls on the floor will get picked up if it doesn't get picked up by something else first. So it'll be doing things like that for quick and simple automation. It'll then be a case of putting however much fuel I want to allow into the system here, and then it can carry on. Later on, we could even automate the tree farm itself, so that processes into charcoal. So let's get a little system set up. I think let's do what we need to do. I didn't want to put those in there. That was silly. I like to carry wood around so that if I've got torch requirements like I do at the moment, I can solve them. So we've got one wooden pressure plate. We need a hopper. And we need one open crate. We are going to need a comparator. We've taught it how to make sticks, so it can do that part for me. Let's make 64 sticks. Go. Do we just want one comparator? Oh, we'll... Yeah, because we don't want to invert the signal. Right. Okay, and then I'm just going to want some redstone. This is going to look ugly to start with because I don't really have a way of sending a redstone signal in a nice fashion. Or do I? might have. Is there a? I'm sure. Maybe not. If I find a way of vertical transmission of redstone power without stacking it, or well, not power, but redstone signal without stacking it all up, I will maybe come and do that. But for now, we just have to make do with some ugly. So, step 1, redstone comparator goes down. So, as this fills up with power, the comparator will output a stronger and stronger signal. And similarly, so we don't want to go more than 15 blocks because 15 power is how far it will go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That, yeah, we've got plenty of space here. How high up do we want? I think we want to go one more. And place the crate there. Place the hopper into that. And then how best to get the redstone signal up. Trying to remember whether it needs to face into the hopper or whether it just needs to face into the block adjacent to the hopper. Well, one way of finding out. 2 items go down, get picked up. Yeah, so that's not dropping anymore, so that's fine. That works as intended. It's ugly, we'll fix it, we'll make it look prettier later. For now we're lacking some of the materials and options available to us, but that does the basic job. So yeah, so we can leave that going. One of the things that you'd have seen while I had that redstone dust in my hand is that converting items in the mana pool just requires throwing them in. Now I won't throw redstone in to get mana dust because you can do some much cheaper items than redstone, like sugar, for example. So if we go over here, just harvest sugar here. And come back over. Sugar turns into the same stuff as redstone when added to mana. Don't understand why, but hey. So there's a few different items that you can create using the mana. Mana dust, mana steel, which is just iron ingot. So you can make all kinds of flowers. You can put mana in bottles. Mana string, mana glass, mana quartz, mana diamonds, and okay, there's a lot of things that turn into the parts there. Mana pearls. I think that's it at that stage. There's also recipes with certain catalysts. So these are blocks that you'd put underneath it. So duplication ones for conjurations, alchemical ones transmute things. So it's a way of getting different items. Sometimes you can't get any other way, which is quite nice. So you'll want multiple mana. Mana pools open up, different blocks underneath it, or pistons to move things around, all kinds of things. There's a lot of fun we can have with automating Botania. But that gets us started, at least. For now, we're going to just rely on sticking coal or charcoal in here to power it up. I'll work out a way later for getting that power to it. We'll also think about getting some more ender flames around here. But I think that is enough for now. Next time we're just going to start making things pretty. Nice and simple. No gaps in between. This next episode is going to be straight away afterwards. So join me in a couple of days for that one. I will see you there.